Let's talk Lighteners. Before I was educating full-time for L'Oreal Professionnel and I was working behind the chair full-time, I only had one lightener option that I worked with. There was one lightener and I used it on every single person that sat in my chair, and at the time it was beautiful and it worked beautifully for me, but I didn't realize that there were so many more lightener options, and I didn't realize that there was something else that I needed in my toolbox. It wasn't until I started working for L'Oreal Professionnel that I discovered how many different lightener options there really are that exist. So L'Oreal Professionnel has a huge lightener portfolio, but today I'm going to choose to talk about 3 of my favorites. So the 3 favorites that we're going to talk about are going to be our Platinium and our Platinium Plus, our Multi-Techniques powder, and then our newest addition to the family is our Blond Studio 9. My name is Melanie Snell. I am the regional educator for L'Oreal Professionnel in Michigan and Ohio. You can follow me on Instagram at _MelanieSue_. You can find me on Facebook at Melanie Snell. Find me, add me. I would be happy to have you as my followers, and I look forward to interacting and engaging with all of you. So I'm just excited today to talk to you about my 3 favorite lighteners. So we're going to start first with our Platinium and our Platinium Plus. So our Platinium and our Platinium Plus is going to condition the hair as it lifts. It's going to give up to 7 levels of lift. It is a paste, and there is an ammonia-free option. So our Platinium and our Platinium Plus, this is what they look like. Our Platinium Plus is going to have the black label, and our Platinium will have the white label. So the Platinium is the ammonia-free option, and a reason that I would pick an ammonia-free option over an ammoniated option is for someone who maybe already has fragile hair or pre-highlighted hair. I also really like the ammonia-free options on curly hair because it helps to keep that curl pattern intact just a little bit more than the ammonia. So I have my ammonia-free Platinium Plus, my ammonia-free Platinium, my Platinium Plus. So both of these are going to work the same. They're both going to give that 7 levels of lift, and they also have white beeswax in them. And that white beeswax is actually going to mix with the developers very nicely. So the developers have Nutricide in them. So Nutricide mixed with the white beeswax in the lightener is actually going to help condition the hair as it lifts. So that Nutricide and the white beeswax helps to keep the hair conditioned as we're lifting it. And so that's why this is always my go-to when it comes to lighteners. Lighteners aren't a one-size-fits-all. We don't use the same lightener on every single person that sits in our chair because every hair is different. Every head of hair is different. Every guest has different needs. So I don't use this on every single person that I highlight, but it is definitely one of my favorites. But I do mix it up because not every single person needs 7 levels of lift, or I have guests that need more than 7 levels of lift. So I use this the most regularly. However, I do love to play around with other lighteners as well. So it conditions as it lifts. You get up to 7 levels of lift, and it's a beautiful paste consistency. You can use it for highlighting, you can use it for balayage, and you can use it for on the scalp techniques. So you can use it for just anything that you're doing at all. And then we have our Multi-Techniques powder. Our Multi-Techniques powder is going to have a powerful speed, give up to 8 levels of lift, and it is a powder. So the Multi-Techniques powder actually starts lifting within the first 15 minutes. So the first 15 minutes you get a really powerful lift, and then it kind of slows down just a little bit. So with this multi-techniques powder, I know I'm going to get up to 8 levels of lift with it, and I know I'm gonna have that 15-minute quick lift. That being said, I recommend remixing this lightener about every 15 minutes. So I work in smaller batches with this, and I remix it every 15 minutes because I know that acceleration of the first 15 minutes of lift is really powerful. And if I have a fresh bowl every 15 minutes, I know that my highlights, my balayage, it's going to be consistently lifted throughout. So I'm not having to spend as much time at the end of processing waiting for the last pieces to finish lifting because I've used fresh product throughout the entire time. Also, within this lightener, the power is in the powder. So it's really important to mix it to recommended standards. You can find that right on the back of the tub. So it's really important to mix it to that standard or to that recommended standard because the power's in the powder. When we start using too much developer in this lightener, it's going to dilute it and you're not going to have that powerful speed. You're not going to get up to those 8 levels of lift. So it's important to mix in small batches, remix every 15 to 20 minutes, and don't over develop the product. And this is just going to be mixed with our Magi Creme developers. So again, it will give up to 8 levels of lift. It is a powder lightener. You're going to have accelerated speed. The first 15 minutes, you're going to see a powerful lift, and then it slows down just a little bit. It's a beautiful lightener. It works beautifully every single time. And that is our multi-techniques. Next, I want to talk to you about our newest member of the family, our Blond Studio 9. Our Blond Studio 9 also has an accelerated lift, except you're going to start seeing lift in the first 10 minutes. So it's even more accelerated than the multi-techniques powder. So within the first 10 minutes, you're going to start to see lift with this Blond Studio 9. You can get up to 9 levels of lift also with Blond Studio 9, and it is a powder lightener. So this is a very beautiful lightener. It is our most powerful lightener, and you will get up to 9 levels of lift with this. The lightener is enriched with something called Oleocare Complex, and this is a compound that was created to really help care for the hair as it lightens the hair. So the Oleocare Complex actually is going to mix with these beautiful oil-enriched developers. So these oil-enriched developers are designed to only go with the Blond Studio 9 because they work hand in hand. So the oil enrichment in the developer mixes with the Oleocare Complex in the lightener, and it really just helps care for the hair. It helps give that boost to give that accelerated 10-minute lightening, and it just helps keep the hair cared for. Because this is such a powerful lightener, we really wanted to make sure that when we created it, that we were thinking about the integrity of the hair as well as the lift from the product. So that's why we created these beautiful developers to go with this beautiful lightener, because everything's going to work hand in hand together and just give you that beautiful 9 levels of lift. And it is more of a neutral lift. It's not going to be and it is going to give up to 9 levels of lift, and that's more of a neutral lift too. It helps take out some of the brassiness as we're lifting. So with the Blond Studio 9, we have the lightener, we have dedicated developers, and these have to be used hand in hand. You can't use any other developer for this because it won't provide that care for the hair that this is designed to do. Blond Studio 9 can be used for open air techniques, it can be used for foil techniques, and it can also be used on the scalp. If I'm going to use this in a foil technique, I am going to make sure to be using my dedicated foils. So there is actually a dedicated foil that also goes along with the Blond Studio 9. And the reason for the dedicated foil is that it's a higher quality aluminum than traditional hair color foils, and it's thicker and a little bit more sturdy. But traditional hair color foils are designed to actually trap the heat in, where this foil, which is a higher grade aluminum, allows the heat to escape the right way. So that way we're not adding extra heat to the hair as we're processing. And because this is such a powerful lightener, it doesn't need any extra heat whatsoever to get that 9 levels of lift. So we really want to make sure, to keep the integrity of the hair, that we're using these beautiful dedicated foils so the heat can escape rather than build up on the hair. There's also some mixing ratios you want to follow with the Blond Studio 9. You will also find those on the back of the tub. If you are doing this as an open air or a balayage technique, you want to mix it equal parts, 1 to 1. If you are putting this in a foil packet or doing it in an enclosed technique, you want to mix it 1 to 1.5. So 1 part lightener, 1.5 parts developer. And then if I'm putting this on the scalp, I'm going to mix it 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. So 1 part lightener, 2 to 3 parts developer. And it's really important to follow these mixing ratios because, again, it is such a powerful lightener. We want to make sure that the product is the right dilution and the right consistency for what method you're doing. So if I'm doing a balayage technique, I need the product to be a little bit more powerful because it doesn't have any heat enclosement in there. So I've got that equal parts. So I'm equal part mixed while I'm doing my balayage, and then I have just a little bit more power in the lightener. Or when I'm putting it in a foil and I need that 1 to 1.5, I need that lightener to be diluted just a little bit because I'm going to enclose it. So we know that even though we have these beautiful foils that allow the heat to escape, there still will be some heat conduction in there. So we want to dilute that product just a little bit so you have the right lift when we're using a foil. And then the same with the open air technique. If I'm putting this on the scalp, I am diluting it 2 to 3. So I'm using 2 to 3 parts of only my 20 volume. I would never put the 30 volume on the scalp. Again, it's a powerful lightener, so we want to just use 20 volume on the scalp. And I want to put 1 part lightener, 2 to 3 parts of developer, because especially when I'm putting that on the scalp, I just want to make sure that it's diluted the right way to provide optimal lift while keeping the integrity and the comfort of our guest's hair at the forefront of our mind. So these are my 3 favorite lighteners that I use the most within the L'Oreal Professionnel family of lighteners. And look out for part 2, where I will be showcasing our other 3 lighteners coming at you very soon. So thank you so much for your time today. Again, feel free to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm looking forward to bringing you lots of great education. Thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to connecting with all of you soon. Bye.